And away we go. It's just me at the moment. Not sure if Eric's going to join, not sure if Risk is going to join, or if a third person is going to join. Either way, life goes on. So, let's see what is in the news today for me to rant about. Oh yes, I know exactly what to start off with. Eric sent in the Discord chat that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are getting engaged or married. I'm not sure which one or two, but something is happening in their life, and all I can say is, good for them. It's nice to see them finally settle down, and maybe start a family. But we won't know that for sure until they actually say. But nonetheless, good for them. Yeah, I can't be more prouder than I am right now. And whilst it's all fine and dandy and third thing, I've also seen a lot of posts on social media where other people have also reacted to the news. And it was, well, first of all, it's not just funny, it's also kind of stupid. Like, I get it. Your favorite celebrity or idol, however you like to call it, is getting engaged to the love of their life, allegedly, and enjoying life and settling down. Fair enough. It's great to see that people are supportive of it. But how they're being supportive and how they react to the news, it's not that deep. It's great, but it's not that deep, man. And I think if Eric was to come on here, he would likely say the same thing. Would you react like this with anyone? Whether it be people that you know, someone that you've heard of? That's another thing. Consistency. And I understand that everyone is entitled to whatever opinions they have about people, but the way they react to the news with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, firstly, great, congratulations. And this is not just me. There will be people that will make the argument about how other people are reacting to the news. Anyway, that's just me. I'm getting too much over this. But one thing's for sure, it's great to see Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce again. They're getting engaged, at least, and yeah, hopefully everything goes well for them. Despite how people react to the news, it's not that deep, but still, it's nice to see people doing well in life and settling down as well. So there's more positives to the situation than there are negatives. However, in my opinion, I still have the question about dragging people into their situation. Like, I have seen a couple of videos discussing the situation, such as, why aren't you looking at the wedding dress options? Or why aren't you looking at how big Travis Kelce's hands around Taylor Swift's waist? I don't know who would ever say that. However, the point still stands. As good it is to be supportive of who you admire or who at least who you know, why are these people getting involved in their life? That's my main point. That's the main point I'm making. Why getting involved if it has nothing to do with you? This is about Taylor and Travis settling down. Who even asked for your input anyway? Well, at least for those who are big fans of Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce trying to get involved. But if you're not into that kind of stuff, like, all you can say is congratulations to them, then fair enough. But again, I'm getting into this too much already. I just had to get it out of my mind because I have so many questions about a lot of things and so much of it. But yeah, I already said it. Everyone knows that I'm happy for Taylor and Travis and their engagements. And yeah, just leave it at that. Astronomers discovered the interstellar comet 3I/Atlas passing through the solar system in July 2025, with observations from telescopes, including James JWST and Hubble. The comet's unusual composition and trajectory trajectory suggest it originally originated from the Milky Way's thick disk and may be about 7 billion years old, older than our solar system. Studies reveal 3I/Atlas has a small nucleus under 5.5 kilometers, a large bright coma, and an exceptionally high carbon dioxide to water ratio in its coma. The carbon dioxide to water ratio is roughly 8 to 1, 16 times higher than typical solar system comets, indicating the comet likely formed near a carbon dioxide ice line in its original protoplanetary disk. Ongoing observations with JWST and other instruments aim to study 3I/Atlas further until it leaves the solar system after October 2025, potentially revealing more about its origin. Now that is something, and although I want to see what other progress is regarding this, I can't jump too much into conclusions, anything space related, until there is a way for us humans to leave Earth and visit the wide, vast emptiness that is space and go to what we call planets, if we can survive on them, regardless of its atmosphere. Probably not. It's very unlikely. But I digress. Can't say I'm too excited, but I'm certainly not saying I'm not too curious about this either. It'll be a while until this story pops up again, or any more updates regarding that story. However, for now, just leave it at that, and then just focus on what we have surrounding us right now. Because that's all there is to us. That's all there is to our life right now. What surrounds us, the environment we live in, and a minor inconvenience that may or may not agonize us mentally. Now that's too far. So yeah, let's hopefully there's more progress, not just with the coma, but also exploration of space and leaving our planet, potentially expanding civilization if viably possible. For now, we need to keep questioning and do the best we can to research on our own accord, and not just because someone told us to. Canada reports $407 million quarter two loss as parcel volume suffers. Canada Post reports a $407 million loss before tax in the second quarter, blaming an overtime ban by the Canadian Union of Postal Workers for causing uncertainty and a steep 37% fall in parcel volumes and revenue. Canada Post has been losing billions cumulatively over several years as letter mail deliveries decline, and it cedes market shares for parcels to low-cost competitors operating daily. The union is asking for a 19% wage increase over 4 years with a 9% bump in the first year, while Canada Post offered 13% over 4 years. Now, I'm not going to argue. I have no complaints. However, I do have concerns. And people ask, not a lot of people, there are some people who ask, why doesn't services get the goods delivered in time? I don't know how else to describe it. They're different industries or sectors. But of course, one thing's for sure. There are workers in said sectors. They 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 are demanding, at least they are wanting, a, a raise in pay. That's not a raise in pay is not a problem. You need to make your money, gotta make your bank, and put food on the table. Fair enough. But however, there comes to a point that whilst you do meet the demands of the workers, how would this affect how people buy goods or services? Again, it's important to make your bank and get enough load of the cheese so you can purchase and buy whatever is essential for our day-to-day life. However, if this keeps continuing without some kind of or safety nets, then just like the wages that have been increased by the demands of the workers, the prices to buy the goods and services will also go up. And if those prices go up, again, the workers will demand a pay rise because everything is too expensive. And if the employers increase the pay for the workers, they can afford the goods and services that they want until eventually, slowly over time, the prices of said goods and services again slowly increases in line with the wage that people are getting. And that's a problem. Now, I understand something like this system, these technicalities are inevitable, and there isn't much to change unless some kind of miracle happens that somehow makes a world more accessible and affordable for all. There is a supply and demand axis to all of this. If there's a very low supply but high enough demand, prices will go up. But how is this relevant to the workers of a union demanding a pay rise? In short, once the workers get what they want and they get paid a little extra, which is good. Now, assuming nothing else changes immediately after that, yeah, there are more benefits than the costs that comes from that. Then again, there are certain aspects that we can't be too sure that are going to happen. And when it does happen, and an explanation is provided, now I'm not just gonna say that inflation is also a problem. Inflation is going to happen anyway, given how much money that global governments are going to print out. I'm getting all over the place. Whilst on one hand, I understand we have to make our bank to put food on the table and afford what we need in our lives. On the other hand, you can't just keep demanding a pay rise just because prices for said goods and services are going up. You cannot just rely on a paycheck day to day or week to week or however you get paid just to get by. I think we as individuals have to find alternatives to make some extra income outside of our primary occupation because nothing is certain until they happen. We're not going to know of the consequences until it happens, and by that point, it'll already be too late. And I also understand there will be individuals that may not have knowledge on how to make extra income outside of their primary occupation. That's okay. But of course, with whatever free time people have, they can just simply search up on Google, or I'm not sure if Wikipedia is any relevant in any way, with whatever articles that would be useful. However, there is plenty of information online, and plenty of platforms, so long as people know the risks. That's important. They have to know the risks so they don't pay the price when something unexpectedly happens. That kind of initiative and mindset amongst all of us as individuals will make life. It won't be easier in the long run, but at least we won't fall into the trap that is our 9 to 5. At least we have some extra pocket change if anything regarding our primary occupation doesn't go exactly the way we want them to go. There always has to be a backup plan, and even if whatever you demand does go through, that's not going to be enough. And if it does go through and there is benefits coming from that, there's always going to be struggles, obstacles that will make these benefits less enticing and certainly less beneficial than we initially thought the moment it happened. There is nothing else I can say. We just have to prepare ourselves. Because we never know. Venice Film Festival set to begin as activists hope to shift the spotlight to Gaza. On Wednesday, the Venice Film Festival, 82nd edition, opened under the shadow of protests as activists unfurled Free Palestine and Stop the Genocide banners at Venice Lido's red carpet, with international film stars expected. Venice for Palestine's open letter on Thursday urged commending Gaza's blockade affecting 2.4 million residents and nearly 63,000 deaths. Martina Vagnano said, "We are facing a full-blown genocide." The festival's main competition includes Kotir Ben Hania's film reconstructing 6-year-old Hind Rajab's death, while activists plan a Lido rally on Sunday with Yulia Capado hoping others will stop the genocide now. Organizers said the festival does not take direct political positions and will not censor artists, even as hundreds of local groups plan weekend demonstrations and premieres proceed over 11 days. With a star-packed lineup and awards at stake, Venice will amplify debates like Cannes Film Festival's backlash, with Werner Herzog's Golden Lion recognition increasing global focus. Well, it's nice to see that organizations and events are at least giving people a chance to express their opinions. However, on the other hand, I will still argue that whilst there are good intentions in raising awareness about lives of people being lost due to war and violence, protests alone and rallies, of course, they're not going to be enough. There has to be other solutions on not just getting attention, not just bringing attention to the devastation of lives being lost anywhere around the world. Also, there has to be an attention called towards how people that aren't too familiar or haven't heard too much about the situation at hand, how can they support the cause? Spreading the word is one thing, but supporting the cause, as little as donating money, supplies, and whatever clothing, toys, or other goods people would likely use, that is also just as effective, if not more, than just spreading the word alone. It's kind of like how an advert for a new handbag pops up on your feed for whoever uses the handbag. They click on the link, and it goes to some website where they can purchase the handbag. They go to checkout, and then they proceed to checkout, and then look at the price. They put in their credit card detail, and boom, they got their handbag. And then in just a few days, it'll be delivered to their front door. If this was done online, then it would be delivered to their front door after checkout and purchase necessary details and so on. However, that only makes a small percent. However, less than I'm not too sure what the percentage is for any purchase, but one thing's for sure, a very, very small percentage of those who are being promoted the handbag ad on their feed, wherever they are, a small percentage of that actually go beyond checkout and actually buy the handbag. Some may stop at, so there'll be a few people that may stop as far as the ad itself. There'll be people that'll just see the ad and just go on about their day. I don't want a handbag. Even I do want it so badly. I can find it somewhere else anyway. They say this is just as relevant in that context with any protest. You can bring awareness to the cause. You can bring awareness about whatever's going on in Gaza. However, spreading the word alone is not enough. If there will come a point people will ask, how do I support the Palestinians? How can I help out? Because what I'm hearing is absolutely devastating. It is messed up, man. What should I do to help out, they say. And then if no one has an answer to that, what was the point of protesting to begin with? Yes, it's important to spread the word, but what if there are people wanting to help out, and what if there is enough information about helping out the Palestinians in Gaza? That is something not many people talk about. And this actually goes for any situation where people are in desperate need for shelter, food, other goods that they need. It's not enough to spread the word or bring awareness to the cause or whatever devastating event is going on around the world. If someone asks, how do I support these people? You gotta have something for someone to go to, whether it be donating money or a website where you can donate clothes or toys or maybe provide some food that is non-perishable, of course, because if it's perishable, then it won't be safe for consumption. Yeah, raising awareness is one thing. Another thing, which is just as important, if not more, is having platforms or some kind of platform where people can actively provide support, either financially or in terms of goods, maybe services. If all that, then fair enough. At least, even with all that set in stone, there is still a logistical challenge, like getting all of that stuff into Gaza, whether it be the Israeli IDF or even Hamas, which there's a few people saying that Hamas are being skeptical about what resources are coming into Gaza. I know I'm not wanting to point fingers at anyone or accuse people of stealing the resources that people ever so need. The massive challenge, whether it be Israel, whether it be Hamas, there has to be a way. No one is ever going to be too sure what that way would be, but there are people out there that will stop at nothing to ensure that those in need are given what they need, because it's bad enough hearing about this for the last few years, and how people have lost their lives because of violence between one side and then violence from the other side. No one should lose their lives under any circumstance. Yet, there we are. It's very unfortunate. So sad. South Korea has passed a bill banning the use of mobile phones and smart devices during class hours in schools. The law gives teachers the power to stop students from using their phones on school premises due to concerns about academic performance and addiction. The ban has drawn skepticism from students and teachers, questioning its effectiveness and whether it addresses the root cause of addiction. So, saying that taking students' phones away and lock them somewhere out of sight where no one could get them out easily without some kind of key or something, you cannot say that will fix addiction, because people are too reliant on technology, especially our phones, the smartphones with the touch screens. If you really want to address addiction, you have to look at the root cause. Why are people addicted to begin with? Now, a lot of people would immediately point to social media, because what videos and content we see on social media, it is engineered to keep us hooked and to doom scroll time and time, minute by minute, and just never leave the platform, ever. And for any reason we do leave social media platforms, that's just out of boredom. It's just that tackling addiction with this mobile phone ban in South Korea schools. No, I highly doubt that. Academic performance, fair enough. Of course, if using technology or phones does affect how students do on their tests or assignments, that's a fair argument. The addiction, on the other hand, there's no way you can say that locking phones away during school is going to address how we are attached to our devices already to begin with, and even potentially after school when they graduate, they're still going to be addicted to their phones because it's part of our life. It's more than just something to keep us distracted or something that we ever so desire or a luxury to us. It's a part of life. And the reason why it is a part, and the reason why our phones and technologies are part of life is the convenience that it provides, not just in our personal lives, but in our work life as well. It does not even matter what job you're working in. At some point, you will have to be involved with technology, whether it be a screen, artificial intelligence, or whatever automated entity is out there. So good old South Korea for actually trying to tackle on use of mobile phones, whatever they're saying is wanting that, but saying what they want to resolve or what their concerns are. I agree more on the academic performance than the addiction. We're still going to be addicted, even if schools do not allow students to be on their phones at all whilst they're in school. A different research project altogether. Tommy Robson will not face charges over alleged assault at railway station. Whoop-de-doo, what a surprise. On August 27th, the Crown Prosecution Service concluded there was not a realistic prospect of conviction after reviewing evidence from British Transport Police. Following the July 28th report at St Pancras Railway Station, London, British Transport Police launched an investigation and arrested a 42-year-old man at Luton Airport on August 4th. Said they gathered CCTV footage and witnessed statements, but the alleged victim did not give a statement. While Tommy Robinson, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, later posted on X asserting self-defense and urging full footage release. Robinson was arrested on suspicion of grievous bodily harm at Luton Airport on August 4th and released on police bail, while inquiries continue and the injured man was hospitalized with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Earlier that day, Tommy Robinson was leafletting at St Pancras and promoted a free speech demonstration scheduled for September 13th amid his past convictions and contempt findings shaping public interest. Hello, Eric. Not much.
So, what are we talking about?
So I was just reading the story that Tommy Robinson will not face charges for alleged assault at this railway station, and there's going to be free speech demonstrations scheduled for September 13th somewhere in London, and yeah.
Wow, definitely sounds like a lot. I hope everything goes good. But yeah, it definitely does sound like a whole lot that's gonna go on that day. Best of luck. Best of luck. Because that just sounds like a whole lot. But yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
TikTok owner ByteDance sets valuation at over $330 billion as revenue grows.
Interesting. Interesting. Let's hear more about that.
ByteDance plans to launch a new employee buyback this autumn, valuing the company at more than $330 billion and offering current employees $200.41 41 cents per share, up 5.5 from 6 months ago. ByteDance's revenue surge, up 25% year-on-year, pushed second quarter revenue to about $48 billion, mostly from the Chinese market, topping Meta's $42.3 billion. Its buyback program, run twice a year, lets employees sell holdings and reflects a stronger balance sheet, while the parent company ByteDance is profitable despite TikTok's US business losses. The buyback could bolster morale among US-based staff worried about TikTok's future, despite ByteDance's valuation remaining less than a fifth of Meta's. Oh my gosh, how am I going to calculate this? $1.9 billion amid US regulatory risks. US President Donald Trump last week extended the divestment deadline to September 17th and said US buyers were lined up with a US joint venture expected to be owned by an American investor consortium, including Susquehanna International Group, General Atlantic, KKR, and Andreessen Horowitz.
Well, I can't imagine any of this will go easy. I can't imagine any of this will be just a walk in the park. Be a walk in the park. And I will say this: Trump extended the deadline. He's gonna always extend the deadline because he doesn't want it to go. But in reality, you could easily just fix this all and save your dignity by just not even staying in the United States and not extending the deadline. They're not gonna sell it to you. It's very sad. That's what he needs to come to terms with. They're not gonna sell TikTok to him, so there's best for him to just move on. Hopefully, but yeah. What are your initial thoughts on this news in general?
Okay, so firstly, there's a correction. It's not 1.9 billion, it's 1.9 trillion dollar market capitalization for less than a fifth of Meta's valuation. That's a lot of money.
Okay.
And secondly,
Yeah,
regarding the situation, yeah, of course, there's always going to be news about TikTok and pushing the deadline. So just so that there's going to be some kind of American ownership or corporate structure involved in what will be the US equivalent of TikTok, working title called M2. Last time I checked. It could be it's likely to be something else, but for now it's going to be called M2. And actually, as of this recording, the date when this M2 platform will come about to US TikTok users is not far away. It's going to come about very soon.
I would say yes. I would say yes. Like, you're absolutely right. Like you said, we're always going to hear news about TikTok and First off, M2 in general is just not a good name, but it would be better if it was called T2. I mean, that just makes the most sense. But I don't really know what the M in M2 stands for. Like, I would understand if they called it T.
In fact, there was a platform called T2. Yeah, there was actually a platform
I
called
think you're right.
T2. Yeah. No, seriously, there was a platform
Actually,
called T2, and it no longer exists because they didn't have enough financial backing to keep it going.
yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think at point. I think we did download something called T2 at one point, and yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They did not have the financial backing, so it's like they had to kind of shut down a bit early. Um, I'll be honest. Were they? From what I remember, T2 was pretty much just not. It was unpolished. From what I remembered, right? It was not. It wasn't polished at all. It wasn't. Huh?
I was going to say that for T2, that's the origins of the T2 platform. It was essentially they were wanting to make it Twitter 2 back when Elon Musk, whether he like before or after, he announced that he was going to buy what was then Twitter. And when he done it, there were signs that he was going to buy Twitter, there was a group of people wanting to make an alternative version of Twitter called T2, whilst the former Twitter CEO, Jack Dorsey, made his own equivalent to Twitter called Blue Sky, and has done pretty well, Blue Sky. But of course, for T2, I'm not sure about naming rights to Twitter. However, I think whilst it did start off as T2, they renamed it Pebble. And then from that point, they announced that that's the end of the line for us. Thank you all for being part of this journey. I hope you all go and do great things, they say.
Pebble.
Pebble, yes.
Pebble.
Pebble.
Doesn't even sound like a. That doesn't even sound like that should be a social.
Pebble?
That doesn't sound like it should be a social. That does not sound like it should be a social media, a name for a social media app. That sounds like it should be the name for something, but not a social media.
This sounds like something for gardening.
Or it does. It does. Or I don't know, maybe, rock for, I don't know, rock collect. Probably something for like rock collectors or something. I don't know. It's like, it does not
Yeah.
sound like a social media app. Wait, hold on. Hey, I'm on this. Like, imagine telling your friends this. Oh yeah, I'm on this app called Pebble. Yeah, I'm a pebbler. I mean, hey, I'm a pebbler on Pebble.
Pebbler.
Oh, that is just yeah, a pebbler. It's like matter of fact, what would you call the tweet? Because we call
A
twit,
peb?
we. I mean, I'll be honest, people no,
No.
no,
Absolutely not.
but I'll be honest, people call tweets, well, Twitter post tweets, and I'd argue and say that people still call it that. And it's like I'll be honest, yeah, it's like people call. I mean, I'll say this: some people call X post X, like call their post X tweets or something like this, or X post. I don't know. But what would you call the tweets that you make on Pebble? Pebs?
No.
I don't know,
Not a
like
peb.
rock. Oh,
Boulder?
you see, no, there was just a lot wrong with that name. Oh, I remember this one app that I showed you guys. I forgot what it was called, but it was an app where it's like you could post stuff and then like people would like up your post and like you would get paid a couple of cents. I forgot what it was called though, but I think they shut down. I guess they also didn't have the financial backing as well.
Yeah. It does sound like a very
I
good
just
idea,
forgot.
though.
It was a it was a good idea. It definitely was a good idea. But you know, it's like it just did not work out. They just did not have the backing. So yeah, it's like there's just so many apps out there that just did not have that. Just it could have been something. It could have been something great, but it just did not have the backing. That was about it. It's like did I like Pebble? I'm not necessarily sure how good that idea was. I don't even think I. Matter of fact, I don't think I even downloaded the app if I'm being honest. I think you showed us it, but it's like I don't think I ever downloaded the app. It had saw a little bit of momentum, but it's like it's just you know. I hope those people are doing better now, though. I mean, I know they're probably not making apps anymore, but I'm sure they're doing something better. Or who knows? Maybe just helping other people make their dreams come true through apps. I don't know. But best of luck to those people. But yeah, like you gotta give Clash this though. Clash lasted for like what 1 or 2 years before they had to officially shut down, or like fight technically. They lasted for about what a year
Less than two
before they
years for
officially
sure.
less than 2 years before they had to actually shut down. Because I'm pretty sure they were. I'm pretty sure like they got themselves into deep stuff, and they just could not. They couldn't do it. They could not. I guess they couldn't pay off like whatever loan sharks they were getting their money from. So it's like, yeah, it's like I would say this, like yeah, that they definitely lasted better, even though they were all in top, like during that time. But I'm sure they're doing great now. I hope they're doing great. I hope they're at least doing something amazing, even if it's not in the tech world or in the app or like or application or like, I'm sure they're using their strengths for something. I would say I would look them up, but I'm lying. I'm not going to look anything up. I'll probably really look them up when I'm bored. But yeah, definitely like I guess the moral of the story is like don't do anything stupid. Don't pretty much actually yeah no. The moral lesson is like pretty much do not make an app without any financial backing or without any plans to like make money off of the app in general. Because ultimately speaking, you're gonna crash and burn if you're not at least funded to a degree, whether it be by whether people who believe in the app or just getting a loan and being successful enough to actually pay off that loan to the point you're no longer going to. Yeah, that's pretty much the moral. I think that's a lesson in general to just not do something not do something like that. And I'm sure like the people, I'm pretty sure like the people who did that learned their lesson. At least I hope they did. You know, but hey, all's well that ends well. But is there anything else in the news?
I came across a post on Facebook a while ago by Terry Myers. It reads, you could spend your whole life grafting like freak, working 6-hour weeks, climbing the corporate ladder, desperate to gain some sort of financial stability. And all the while, you watch people like this landing six-figure deals for absolutely fuck all. No talent, nothing to offer society at all, apart from having a stupid freaking haircut, banging 1,000 guys in 24 hours, talking about spitting on men's willies. And these people get glorified by media outlets talking about what they are up to and worshipping by NPCs. And then everyone wonders why we as a society have become dumbed down. Look how easy it is for people to be sucked into whatever is trending nowadays. Prime, CEO cheating at a Coldplay concert. The list is endless. I genuinely thought the Kardashians were a low point for people to follow, but this crap is next level. Please stop feeding this machine. And then there's a picture of a guy with a stupid haircut, then Bonnie Blue, and then the hot tour girl.
I, I'll be honest. I would say yeah that he has a point. I would understand why that person is angry. I mean, yes, you can work hard. You can honestly work hard all you want, but ultimately it's having a stupid haircut, sleeping with a bunch of men, and talking about spitting on a man's genitals to you know really get people's attention, and also allow these what we call gooners to reveal who they really are, whether it be in a comment section or in social media in general. I will say this though, Haley Welch, she was really nothing special. I mean, obviously, I don't hate the girl, but it's dang, you really give a girl attention for, saying she was going to, spit on spit on a man's genitals? Really? I mean, come on. I mean, as degenerate and as degenerate as Bonnie Blue's actions are, I can somewhat see why that caught the world's attention because it's just extremely degenerate. I mean, either people were complaining about it, or there's some people who are actually into that type of stuff. And yes, I can understand why that would catch the world's attention. But yes, it just ultimately takes away from hardworking people as well. I can see the anger behind that as well because it's like Bonnie Blue has done nothing to contribute to society except for sleeping for multiple guys. And on top of that, there are rumors that Bonnie Blue, that Bonnie Blue was actually a guy who started their treatment started their treatment when they were 13, but that's a whole different conversation. For now I'm just gonna stick to this. Yeah, sleeping with 1,000 guys. It's not an accomplishment. It's not something that you should be proud of. It's not something that you should want to parade all over the internet. But hey, I would say if you want to kind of ruin your life, then I would hope that she would turn from her degenerate ways someday. But you know, if you want to ruin your life, if you want to ruin your public image, then look, I can't stop you. You can't stop her. Rich can't stop her. Literally, no one else can stop her. And as for the stupid haircut, I'll be honest. Why would that catch anyone's attention? I'm gonna be honest. There are a ton of people in the world who rock stupid haircuts every single day. Why is someone getting famous off of a stupid haircut? Once more. Bonnie Blue's actions are extremely degenerate and no young woman should aspire to be like her. But I can see why it caught the world's attention because it's degenerate. Haley Welch, I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure other girls have done the same thing that she's done on Cameron too, and they're not famous. They're not famous. No one is famous from that except for Haley for some odd reason. I don't know why. But really getting famous off of a stupid haircut? Why? Why? I mean, come on, man. So we've all had stupid haircuts in the past, or bad haircuts in the past. We either cut our hair ourselves, or we push back our hair. The point is, there were people in the past who had stupid haircuts, who had pushed back hairlines, who had stupid looking beards, and have not gotten famous off of them. They got brief attention from it, but not famous. You have to really ask, what is wrong with people nowadays? How bored are we? How much do we want to how desperate are we to cling on to something or someone to the point where we make them famous? How desperate are we? It's just it's just not it's just not something that you should be proud of. I mean, come on, you can legitimately be doing something else with your time, but no. Instead, you're either uh gasping at a man's haircut, gooning, or shouting, gooning at a girl sleeping with a bunch of men, uh, you know, and or commenting on her stuff. Oh, you're my favorite porn star, or or they're probably one of those guys who slept with her, and they're proud of that. It's a good thing most of those guys were wearing masks. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's not it. Okay, that makes me seem like I watched it. No, I just saw pictures. I'm making it worse. But the point is, yes, it's a good thing. Probably no one reveals their faces. Is my point. But yeah, and as for Haley Welch, well, once again, I'm pretty sure there are other drunk women who did the same thing. So I'm just wondering what made Haley Welch, what made the difference with Haley Welch? Why was she different? I'm not gonna say it's because of her skin color or anything like that. I'm not gonna say that because that's too easy. I'm genuinely wondering what made Haley Welch different to the point where we gave her, we gave her a following. Yeah, like what about these people were different from like, the average Joe who has probably uploaded a video like that online and has gotten famous from it. And has gotten famous like, from you know, doing something such as that, as stupid as that. It's really sad. It really is, but what are you really gonna do? What are you really gonna do in a society such as this, in a society that glorifies sex and lust and stupidity and makes people like, I'll be honest, we could probably do something equally as stupid and we could probably get famous off of that as well. And then scam our fans and then disappear completely. And then do a half baked apology. Say, hey, blah blah blah, I'm sorry, yeah, but the point is it's like it's just we gotta do better. The sad part is I know we're not gonna do better. Only a few of us will truly do better. Most of us will remain. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. And is there anything else in the news?
Unnamed skeletons. U.S. Museum at Center of Ethical Debate.
All right. Oh yeah, let's hear more about that.
The Mutant Museum in Philadelphia was at the center of an ethical debate over displaying human remains anonymously. After 2 years of controversy, the museum announced a new policy to contextualize and de-autonomize its collection by
I
identifying
think you're cutting
donors.
out a bit.
Okay. The museum will only accept
Hello?
donations. Hello? Oh dear.
Yeah, I think you're cutting out a bit.
Wait, you can still hear me, right? Or can you not?
Yeah, I can still hear. Yeah, I can still hear. I just Yeah, I can still hear you. It's just like every time when you talk, it just cuts out and cuts back in, and cuts back out, cuts back in.
Very tricky they are. Okay,
Yeah, it's
so
like literally doing it as you're cutting.
okay. So I will be talking very slow. The Mutter Museum in Philadelphia was at the center of an ethical debate over displaying human remains anonymously. After 2 years of controversy, the museum announced a new policy to contextualize and de-anonymize its collection by identifying donors. The museum will only accept donations from living donors or their descendants to help identify them. Okay, so it's cutting out. Well, all that I can say for the situation. And Eric is reconnecting. It's not looking good for him. What are these people doing? Can you still hear me, Eric?
I can. Yeah, it keeps cutting in and out still, and I think it got a little bit worse. It's like I hear you for what for about a second, like 0.1 second, then it's like it just cuts out again.
So it's like,
Yeah, it's like I cannot hear you.
okay. In that case, I will just screenshot the story and you can read it for yourself. Because, goodness me, whoever these people are, fair play to them. Very fair play.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the classical debate. Museum, the Mother Museum in Philadelphia was center of an ethical debate over displaying human remains anonymously. After 2 years of controversy, the museum announced a new policy to contextualize and de-anonymize its collection by identifying donors. The museum will only accept donations from living donors of their descendants to help identify them. Oh, Wow, that's actually very interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. Huh? Yeah. I, I mean, I don't know why anyone would keep living donor skeletons in a museum, but it's definitely an interesting choice. I mean, identifying them, sure, I get that, but keeping them living, and that is weird. That is definitely weird.
Indeed, yes.
Well, I can hear you again now. Wait, hold on. Wait, it says reconnected actually. Hold on, try talking again.